And finally tonight, our second Middle East story, the coming showdown at the United Nations over a Palestinian state. Furniture makers in the West Bank have been crafting a chair for Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to take to New York next week for the opening of the UN General Assembly. It's embroidered with the message, Palestine's right, of full membership in the United Nations. Abbas has said that's exactly what he wants.
We will go together to the United Nations to get a full membership for a Palestinian state in this global forum.
Israel has strongly opposed the move, and Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman warned the Palestinians today to think twice.
The one thing that I can say with full confidence is that the moment they make a unilateral decision, there will be grave and difficult consequences. And I hope that we don't reach those grave and difficult consequences.
The Obama administration has expressed its own opposition. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton spelled out U.S. concerns again on Tuesday after meeting with the Romanian foreign minister.
I think the issue is not simply that action in New York will not bring peace and stability, but it will create more distractions toward achieving that goal, which is certainly the commitment of the Obama administration. And so we have to keep our eye on what the objective truly is. But
the Palestinians have a bold new proposal, that is to get statehood granted on them by the United Nations. Now, I love this proposal for two different reasons. One, it's nonviolent. For decades, we have been asking the Palestinians to pursue a nonviolent path, and they now have. It's a diplomatic path. It makes all the sense in the world. And I love the nonviolence of it. So the second reason that I love it is because it's exactly what Israel did. Israel went to the United Nations and said, we would like a state, and they got granted a state. The Palestinians have all the right in the world to ask for the same thing. A great majority of the General Assembly apparently agrees with them. They're likely to win in the General Assembly easily, so they're going to do what Israel did. You can't get any more logical than that. Of course, right-wing Israeli supporters, whether they're in Israel or the United States, say, oh, how dare they? How dare they pursue their rights? Don't they know their place? They should be occupied for the rest of time. Joe Walsh, Republican congressman from Illinois, actually says, hey, you know what? Israel should just annex the settlement areas in the West Bank. He says they're Judea and Samaria anyway, according to the Bible, and they should just annex them, even though it's considered totally illegal by the rest of the world. In fact, the United States position is that they should not annex those areas. But Joe Walsh and the Republicans, the right-wingers, they don't give a damn what the U.S. position is and what the international community thinks. They could care less about. You know what happens when you don't care about the international community? You become a rogue state. That's not just for Israel, it's also for the United States, which of course is doing their damn best to make sure the Palestinians cannot pursue this peaceful path, this diplomatic path, this path where all they do is ask for their rights. Now, normally, you got to go through the Security Council. Now, if the Palestinians go that route, the U.S. says, oh, of course, we will crush your dreams of statehood, even though we claim that we're in favor of it, and we will veto it, even though there's really almost no reason given. They say, oh, you know what, we prefer that you go negotiate with Israel instead. Palestinians say, what do you think we've been doing for the last 2-3 decades? Every time you go to negotiate, Netanyahu builds another settlement, goes, ha ha, I'm not going to give you a damn thing. I'm just going to keep building on your land that the rest of the world thinks is illegal. I'm going to do it anyway. So you're going to negotiate with that guy? No, they're going to do exactly what they should do, and they're following the Israeli model. It makes all the sense in the world. But you know what? If they win the vote in the General Assembly, which they almost certainly will, they will be considered a non-member state in the beginning, like the Vatican is, but it gives them some degree of rights, and it makes the Israeli occupation that more illegitimate. And it begins to have the rest of the world community question what Israel is doing in those occupied territories, which they should have been questioning for all this time. And by questioning, we don't mean just theoretically, we mean diplomatic relationships, economic relationships. And look, that's what worked in the context of South Africa. Eventually, there was so much economic pain that they decided, hey, maybe we should stop apartheid and actually do the right thing and stop doing the racial discrimination they were doing in South Africa. Now, a lot of people say it's a different case, South Africa and Israel, but the result of diplomatic and financial pressure might be the same, which is to force them to do the right thing. Obviously, they should let go of the occupied territories, and even Israeli governments have said, yes, there should be two states. So what's stopping you? There's no good answer. The real answer is they want to keep building more settlements so they can grab more Palestinian land at a later time and go, oh, what could we do? Facts on the ground were that we had, built on that land, and now there's too many Israelis and we can't move them. That's the real plan. And I love that the Palestinians are going about this in a smart way. Now, the Israelis are in a panic, and they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to cut off all your money and we're going to get our, let me use the proper adjectives here, our friends in America to do likewise. So the Israeli ambassador is saying, well, we have deals with the Palestinian Authority. We don't have deals with the Palestinian government. If they declare a government, well, then I guess we're going to have to stop sending them any money that we already send them. And, sometimes people wonder, hey, why do we send money to the Palestinian Authority? Duh, it's not to help them, it's to control them so that you can threaten later, hey, if you want to keep that money going, okay, then you better do exactly what we tell you. And I love that Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority are no longer listening to that kind of obvious pressure. Let me give you just one of the quotes of Michael Oren here, the Israeli ambassador that I'm referring to. He said, we want to be able to negotiate, but we won't be able to negotiate if they are attacking our legitimacy in every international court. We're not going to negotiate under fire, and it's a mistake for the Palestinians to think that we would. So, if they use force, you say, oh, we're under fire, we can't negotiate. If they don't use force, you say, we're under fire, we can't negotiate. So when could you negotiate? If the Palestinians come and grovel at your feet and say, oh, I'm so sorry, we surrender everything. Please, please put your boot on my neck and crush it. Do whatever you want to me. Give me just a sliver of land. Give me nothing at all. Spit in my face. Please, I don't want to put any pressure on you. I don't want you to be under fire at all, because all you're doing is occupying me for the last, how many decades now? 1967? What are we talking about? Over 4 decades now. When is enough enough?
Catherine Ashton.
What we're very clear about from the European Union is that the way forward is negotiations. We want to see a just and fair settlement. We want to see the people of Palestine and the people of Israel living side by side in peace and security.
Ultimately, the United States has threatened to veto the statehood proposal if it comes before the UN Security Council. Right, a full membership in the United Nations. Right, a full membership in the United Nations.